What's the best advice you can give someone starting college? Go to class. It's easy to fall in the habit because of the potential fun out of class activities. It's not high school. They aren't going to come figure out why you are missing class. You'll just fail out. I saw way too many smart people who just couldn't resist the party and late night life and failed out of school. You keep the debt and you have nothing to show for it. And when you go to class, actually pay attention in class. No Reddit during lectures. As someone who used to teach general chemistry for a device school, nothing would short out my temper faster than this. It's the same people that didn't pay attention who would come sobbing to me at the end of the semester because they were about to fail. Even in a class of 300 I know who's trying and who isn't. And do the reading. If you don't, you spend far more energy trying to BS that you did. Also, there were plenty of classes in which I just read the assigned text and did the tests. Professor knew it was Gen Ed and wasn't worried about strict attendance if you knew the material. So, you get some bonus free absences back in the trade. And all the cake, happy times to you. Use a calendar app to keep track of your classes. On the first day of class, when you receive your syllabus, go home that night and input all your important dates, tests, projects, etc. for each class. This is a really good one. Also use the same calendar to keep track of social events, me time, study time, etc. Block the time in your calendar and try to stick to it. When someone invites you to a thing and you can look at the calendar and see an empty spot, it's super easy to be able to say yes without hesitation because you know that you have critical time booked already. College gives literally zero shits about you. You can skip classes, you can text in class, you can eat in class, you can walk out of class, you can avoid your homework, you can fail tests. They do not care. You need to have the motivation and self-discipline to get your ass to class, pay attention, and do your homework. Edit. Wow, this blew up. Okay, this obviously is a case-to-case basis. It depends on the school, on the class, on the professor, on the year. Your situation might be different. That's fine. My point is you are not babysat like you are in high school. While you are cared about, it isn't to the extent it has been for the past 12 years. It's not high school. The teachers will not babysit you. They will not check up on you. They will not give you 12 reminders. They will not email you to remind you to turn something in. They won't be worried if you haven't shown up to class in a few days. They barely know your name. They really don't care if they give you an F. In high school, they meet your parents, counselors, administrators. Parents get involved if you're failing. In college, your teacher isn't meeting your mom, isn't talking to your counselor, doesn't know what any of your other grades are. They aren't gonna get worried about you. They barely know who you are. It's actually a really good idea to get to know your professors. Go to their office hours. Make small talk if you can. Try to spend time with them outside of class. If you can imprint yourself on them, they will be more likely to give a shit about you. Check your goddamn email. Edit. Thanks so much for the upvotes. Perhaps I should elaborate a little bit more, because a lot of you are making some great suggestions. I go to a paperless state university, so everything is done through some portal or another. I have had entire assignments done through email. If I hadn't checked, then I would have gotten a 0. This is my 4th year at school and I've been in RA for 3 years now. It is so incredibly surprising to me that every year I have a handful of freshmen tell me that they didn't get the notice because they don't check their emails. I have my email on both of my computers, my phone, and my tablet, and I check it at least once an hour every day of the week. Again, because everything at my university is through email/internet. Some of you may have slightly different experiences, but this is the reason behind my comment. Serious question. Is this an issue for today's crop of 18-year-olds? When I started college, 15 years ago, email was our only communication lifeline and I checked it at least daily. I still check my personal email like 20 times a day now. I won't lie, I went to a school that gave us 2 separate email accounts. Maybe accounts isn't the right word, because the email address was the same, but the emails were split up and sent to different inboxes, I guess. One for generic stuff like advisor emails, student activities, etc. One for classes that contained everything from the teachers like assignments, class announcements, etc. And you couldn't access the emails from the other inbox. It was months before I figured out there was a difference. Edit. I hope I explained that well. It's better to try and do something 50% than to just not try. Don't let the fear of failure stop you from doing something. If you fall behind, it's so easy to just let it consume you, but you need to claw yourself out of that mindset inch by inch. This killed me my first time around in college. I would be late with one assignment and then just stop going to class because I was embarrassed. All I have to show for it is $15k in student loans and some shitty transcripts. Second time around went a lot better. Make sure your dorm is your safe haven. You'll always be able to find social events and parties, but you don't want that becoming the place where you sleep at night. Plus, if neither you nor your roommates ever get any sleep, you will constantly be fighting. I'm glad I opened that. Wear sandals in the shower. People are disgusting. After a few showers your feet will develop a thick protective crust of urine, pubes, ejaculate, and assorted sebum. Just because you can write that visual doesn't mean you should. Barf. If you don't understand something, speak up. You are not the only one with the same question. It's far more important to stay on track than to look cool in front of your peers. If you're intimidated by talking in class, take advantage of your professor's office hours. Building that relationship and showing I was trying saved my ass a time or two. I'll add on to this and say that you shouldn't waste time asking questions to appear smart. There was this one guy in my lectures who would constantly interrupt the lecturer to ask a question that was basically just a variant of what the lecturer just said. So if lecturer said something like we do 12 plus 17 to get 29, then the guy would chime up with, so if I'm understanding this right, we would do 17 plus 12 to get the required answer of 29. It was so fucking infuriating. Especially because he'd do it every lecture at least once. A few times he'd have like a good 10-minute discussion on something that was covered weeks ago that he decided not to read up on since, or was off when it was originally covered, and didn't go to the office hours of the lecturer to ask for clarification. Like, holy shit, get some fucking self-responsibility. We were all given comprehensive lecture notes with examples. The lecturer had defined office hours. There was video recording online, and you live in 2017 during the internet. There was so many ways to find the answer yourself that interrupting a lesson should be the last option you take. Just because you got decent grades with very little effort in high school does not mean you can necessarily do the same in college. I did much better in college than in high school. I was actually taking classes that were interesting to me instead of being forced into requirements that bored me to death. Take advantage of professors' office hours. When I was in college, I didn't want to be a needy pain in the ass, so I didn't bother to get to know more than just one of my profs. My daughter just graduated college, and before the ceremony, we went to her School of Business department brunch. I was shocked what a valued relationship she had with her profs. Lifelong friendship happening there. They love her and have sound advice that I could never provide to her. So use your resources. The last piece of advice I can give you is that you will make your best friends in college. Life will happen and you will lose touch a bit. Then more life happens and you will reconnect and continue to have the time of your lives together. Just to add to this great advice, every year I have several students ask me for a letter of recommendation. Those who have never come to my office to talk, or those who are on the quieter side in class, I have very little to say anything about. My best rec letters have been in behalf of students I've formed a good rapport with over a number of conversations outside of class. Get to know us. Many of us aren't so bad. Do not microwave fish in your room. Be smart with money. Enjoy the experience, meet people, study abroad if possible, but don't go to a Harvard price school for a degree that is useless in the real world. Take advantage of summer internships in a field that you actually see a future in, rather than working ones that don't interest you on the merit of them paying more. Edit. If you can afford to do so. It can be really tough to break into certain lines of work after college, and a number of these bottom of the totem pole positions are only offered to current undergrads or very recent graduates. I can't emphasize enough how much a leg up you'll be giving yourself in life if you seek out these types of opportunities while you're still in school. Sleep more than you study, study more than you party, and party as much as possible. So 9H sleeping, 8H studying, 7H partying, try 8H1 sleeping, 8H studying, and 7H 59 meters 59's partying. I've seen other great advice here, so here's something specific. Take notes in those lecture type classes, preferably written and neat to the point someone else can read them. Writing things down helps you remember. If the professor already has a slideshow, great, you'll have your notes organized by that. Still copy the titles, all the bullets, and add the content he says out loud next to the point of the slideshow he said it at. Your notes will become a treasure you can share with any classmates you deem worthy studying with or simply worth saving. You might not want to study every day the week before a test, and time budgeting might demand putting it off, but I'd recommend reviewing these notes the 2 days/nights before a test. Don't buy the books until a week after school. Most professors never use them, and if they do, they just go over it in class during lecture. Just go to class and take notes. Don't accept drinks from anyone. Pour your own. Don't leave drinks unattended. Even if it's sitting right in front of you, keep notice of it. I had to take my girlfriend to the hospital after one drink.